But we did that Hanging Gale together 20 years ago, which was BBC Belfast, and we shot it in Donegal. And he played the British establishment, didn't he? Like in one character. And he was fantastic. He was fantastic. I loved working with him. He was awkward. He's not, no, I mean, you know, some people are that you work with, but he was quality. I'll never forget there was a scene, I watched him, I was waiting to go on to the next scene, I watched him shoot. And it was a scene where his character, like the land agent, has just arrived. And anyway, he's in, he's having his supper, he's got there, it's late. And he's eating his supper, and his servant, played by Tina Kelleher, is like faffing around and bringing him his dinner. And she's meant to pour him a glass of wine. And Kitchen has watched, they rehearsed it a couple of times, and then Kitchen said to her, rather than say anything, don't say anything when you come in, because she had a couple of lines of dialogue. He said, but pour the wine, when you just, in silence, pour the wine right to the brim, like right to the top of the glass, so I can't pick it up without spilling it. Right? So she said, all right, and she did. And you know what, it's one of the best scenes in it. But you'd have to see it again, it's like, it's silent contempt. And it was his idea, it's beautiful. He's a really smart man, Michael. And I hope his ears are burning, whatever he is not.
Okay, yeah, that young man there, if you want to get him along soon there. This man's well clued up, he's Dr. Who's.
Is he? Oh no, I'm trembling. Don't ask me something I don't know. You know, I was in America a couple of weeks ago, and we did one of these, and some woman, young woman, asked me some question, like involved question. And it was about some old thing, I just didn't know what she was talking about. And I said, I'm sorry, I don't know. And she said to me, why are you here? And the audience did what you just did, like they laughed, like, and she meant it, like, why are you here? Like, we're all here, you know, the people that know, like, what are you doing here? And I felt about that bit. Go on, anyway, no pressure.
How did it feel to play as Capaldi?
It was great, I was really excited to do it. I was a little bit, when you first get the gig, and it dawns on you like that, well, it wouldn't have dawned on Bill Arnold because he was the first, but after the first one, other people have done it before you. It makes you a little bit nervous. Because you just naturally worry that, or what if I'm not as good as him, or what if, you know, it's like, imagine how Peter Capaldi's feeling. Now everyone who loves David Tennant and Matt Smith is on his case. You know, I've spoken to people already who've gone, well, he's not like Matt, is he, or he's not 25 and good looking, is he, or whatever, you know. So there's that kind of pressure anyway, so you've got to, I suppose for them, like Capaldi now's feeling that he's going to have to bide his time a little bit and win you over, if he hasn't done already. When I did it, weirdly, there wasn't any Doctor Who, because there hadn't been anything for like 6 or 7 years, so in a way I was in the clear a little bit on that score, but when I did it in 95, 96, we were trying to get it off the ground in America, so that had its own pressure, you know. I was just nervous. You know, I was a little bit nervous, but once you start, it's like, you know what, it's a bit like a fight in the playground at school. Like, you're nervous till you get smacked in the mouth, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? And then you feel alright. Then you're in, then it's on. I'll use that again, that's a good metaphor, isn't it? You can have that.
Okay, I've got a question on that side, and then we'll go to, I think there was one on you, and then we'll come down to you.
Hi, Paul.
Hiya. Isn't it powerful having a mic? Is it? We're now hitting your thrall. Go on.
You must feel immense pride, actually, with your place in the actual Doctor Who legacy, because, as you touched on earlier on, I mean, you brought it back whenever it had been on the screens for a while. So, in respect, I mean, if that hadn't have worked, you know, the rest would have followed. So you must feel immense pride that it did work, and what followed after that.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because, you know, we, at the time when we did the so-called movie 20 years ago, for a few years there was no pride about it because it failed. You know, don't forget it was a TV pilot that never got picked up as a series. You never even started calling it the movie, incidentally, for years after, you know, like a rebrand thing. So it was disappointment, really. We failed. But then as it, you know, and it would be another 10 years before the series came back. Anyway, so any of the pride that you say, you might feel is kind of residual, and it's, I suppose we feel vindicated more than anything. If there is any sense of achievement about for us that work on that, it's that, I suppose, the least thing we said is we kept it going. We were the only thing out there, the only show in town really for 10 or 15 years. So I think because we stayed around long enough, and of course the Big Finish audios helped because it kept me in the loop, it kept the Doctor going, the 8th Doctor going anyway. And since the series has come back in 2005, people have said as much that, you know, at least it helped. You know, so pride maybe is too strong, but quiet satisfaction, I think, is probably how we feel about it there. I love the sound of applause.
Keep it going, keep it going.
Does that make me a hammy actor? I might just record it so I can wake up to it every morning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hiya.
Hiya.
I was just wondering if you were annoyed that you only really got one like proper like episode, and if
When? What, way back when? Like?
you know, like the movie. Like,
Well, like I say, it should have been 5 years worth of it. Had it gone to series, it would have been a few years, but it never made it. So yeah, it was disappointing. But you know, when you work as an actor, it's often you're involved in things which nearly make it or weren't quite the thing that you intended, and you kind of get used to those little reverses. You don't worry about it for too long because usually something else comes along that takes your mind off it. So it's a little bit like that. Yeah, I fretted about it for a couple of days. Like that was that. Life could have been different. You know, we were in we shot that thing in Canada, in Vancouver, and what was I? I was in my 30s. The children, our kids were little, 5, 6 years old, and when we were there, although it was impressed on us that, you know, most American pilots, most of them, 9 out of 10 of them, are never going to get made, you know, so this is going to be it. But even so, you're there and they're saying to us, well, why don't you look for schools to put the kids in, you know, when we come back in October sort of thing. Why don't you look at a few of the houses there in the bay so you can live here? And so while you're thinking of that, and at the same time, in the back of your mind, you think, well, I'm kind of going through the motions because the chances are it won't get made anyway. So it's that kind of living, but that's what it's like working in television. You know, it might happen, it might not happen. So you learn to be philosophical about it. Loads of people with their hands up.
Yeah, I'm sure this little guy had his hand up for a little while. Have you still got a question?
No, he's back on his Game Boy.
You got a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
What's your favourite Doctor?
The first one, you won't remember because you're too little, but 50 years ago when I was as little as you are now, it was the first one, Bill Hartnell, and he had long white hair, and he looked like a Victorian gentleman, and he was really scary. But he had really kind eyes as well. I liked him. So when I was a kid, he was the Doctor, and he was my favourite. I think it's often the first one that you see becomes your favourite, and he was my favourite. A few Hartnell fans out there. I think Capaldi's actually a little bit like him. He's got elements of that same kind of gravity that he has. So I hope his ears are burning as well.
Okay,
Lots of people do.
yeah, we've got one up there. Yep, when you go, and then we'll start working our way through the crowd that's there.
Yeah. Go ahead then. I can see your lips moving, but I can't hear the word you're saying.
So can you check that mic?
Hello.
Hey.
That's it.
Now that your Doctor's regeneration has been seen in Man of the Doctor, is there a chance you'll ever go back to Doctor Who?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, of course. Well, there is always a chance, isn't there? I'm still here. I've got me health. The thing is, though, if working on if being asked to do the Night of the Doctor is anything to go by, if it ever happens, I'll find out on the Wednesday and we'll start on the Monday. That's how it works. You know, if Moffat's in charge, so he'll have the idea that it'll happen like immediately. It's like, if you're there, let's do it. That's how it works. So every time you hear rumours, sometimes you hear like, oh, I've heard the rumour that there's going to be a spin-off of a so-and-so and a blah. It's always bollocks. For the simple reason that Moffat doesn't know what he's doing. Even like 3 weeks hence, he doesn't know what he's doing. He hasn't thought of it yet. So, anyways, remember who told you.
Alright, we've got a big group of guys here, so we'll start with you, and then if we can pass something down, we'll work with me if it's alright. How do you go for it?
This is like question time, isn't it?
I was wondering.
Where are you? Oh, there you are. Oh, hi, man.
I was wondering, did you enjoy working on the movie more than you enjoyed working on the audiobooks, or vice versa?
You know what? The movie was really the movie pilot. That was really, I think it was a bit tense. Because, it's like if you ever watch a pilot of anything, America's pilots, they're always a little bit awkward on because, it might be an hour long, and they've got to try and establish so much, like all the characters, the different storylines, where it's set, try and kind of reel you in. So it's kind of framed awkwardly, written awkwardly, and I remember when we did that one, and like bearing in mind, like I just described, we were trying to do a pilot for North America to try and attract an audience which they were convinced existed, but they weren't quite sure. So they needed to introduce Doctor Who to them, notionally, these people. At the same time, without putting their noses out of joint, of like the millions of people who'd followed it for 30 years back in Europe. So it was kind of awkward. So you didn't want to be patronising to one lot and piss off the others, kind of thing. And it was so it almost felt a little bit tense. So, like for example, if I'd say to the director, "Well, can I be a bit free with this? Can I do it?" He'd go, "No, because you have to do it like that, because that's how it's done. You got to wear that thing, do that thing, and say it like that, because that's how it's done." And it was quite strict. So, but I suppose had it gone to a series, of course we could have been a lot freer with it. In answer to your question, doing the audios is a whole lot more enjoyable than having to work like that. And then when we got to do Night of the Doctor, that was great. That was easy because I knew what I was doing. I could just turn up and he said, "Yeah, I'll wear that, say that, and go over there, have a laugh." And that was great. That was easy. But the audios are great fun. That's the best thing to be doing.
Okay, we've got the three guys here. We'll start with yourself, then we'll go to one next to you, and then one next to you, and then we'll work our way down to you right there, because you've had your hands up for quite a while, and then we'll come across to this side, alright?
Who's got the mic?
It's America there.
Did you ever dream of becoming the Doctor when you were a child?
No, I didn't. Or if I did, I can't remember that I did. No, I was more. I dreamt of like going to the Olympics. When I was a kid, I was an athlete. I was a track and field. I think that was my thing, going into sport. So, like for example, like the only time I ever asked for an autograph was up at Liverpool football ground, with the football players or whatever. That's the only time I ever did that. So my dreams were like those kind of dreams. But sport's a little bit like, well, it's a lot like show business. It's as ruthless and as unforgiving as show business. Like if your face don't fit or you don't make the cut, as I didn't at the time, you're out. So I became an actor instead, which is another kind of sport. But no, in answer to your question, no, I didn't. Honestly, I didn't. So I think when I got, but funny enough, I think someone like, well, we know now that David Tennant actually did. He loved it and wanted to do it. Capaldi's the same. So, and I think it shows, that kind of heartfelt love for it. But I know when I did it, it wasn't just another job, but I didn't feel that kind of, I didn't feel awkward about that, no. But I love doing it now. Now I just dream of getting out of it. I don't really.
Hi.
Where are you? Hiya.
Did you enjoy working on Alien 3?
Oh yeah, I loved it. Alien 3 was a great thing to work on. Because, principally because of David Fincher, who directed it. He was a genius, Now he's a famous director, but that was his first picture. He was like 24 or 25. Anyone in the room 24 years old? Right, look how young they are, right? That's yeah. Imagine getting to direct like a £100 million Hollywood movie. Anyway, with Sigourney Weaver. And he was like, he was younger than me. I remember because when I went to meet him for the job, I thought he was the young lad who was going to take me in to meet the director. I did. I went in the corridor outside, I'm thinking, oh, this lad's really nice. And after about 5 minutes, he said, are you waiting for me to take you in to meet the man? I said, no. He said, I'm the man. So he was lovely. And then we went into this room, this office thing in Pinewood Studios in London that he had. And I remember there was all these like design drawings on the wall. He'd drawn them. And these models of like figures and aliens and that. He'd made them. He's a really super intelligent, smart person. They'd found him at age of about 14 in one of the high schools there. And George Lucas and they'd found him, Industrial Light and Magic, and they got him in there. That's how smart he is. So I loved it anyway. There you go. Long-winded answer to your question. Alien 3 was great.
You certainly will come down to you one day.
Being asked to play the Doctor again, what was your reaction to it, or did you want to go back to it?
What do you mean on the telly?
Oh man, like
On the little short one, yeah. Oh yeah. Well, when he rang me up, Moffat this is, and we were down in Australia. I say we was the old boy band, the classic Doctors, me and McCoy and Colin Baker. Because we were doing one of these shows, we're all together down in Australia. And I got this call then from Moffat to ask me if I wanted to do this. But the conversation went something like, he said, it was a bit in the abstract, he said, if I was to do this, would you in principle say yes to, what was one of them kind of conversations? I'm going, well, send me a script. He said, there isn't one. Because if you're an actor, you want to see a script. He said, there isn't one. I said, well, okay, what's the idea? He said, I don't know yet. And I said, well, when do you want to do it? He said, next week. And I said, can I think about it? He said, think about it now. And this is how the conversation went. I said, all right, I'll do it, whatever it is. And I swear, for the most part, I think we shot it on a Monday. And it was, I know, because the Sunday that I arrived in Cardiff to do it was the day after they'd just finished that 3D thing, the big 50th thing, in the same studio. And the party, I think, was still going on. There was like people like knocking around doing the walk of shame stuff. And we got it into this little corner of the studio. They built this thing that we were going to use. And then Moffat set to work writing it. So for most of the day that we shot it, he was like handing me bits of paper and said, yeah, let's say that. That's what it was great. That's the great way of working. Unfortunately, because I'd done all them big finishes down the years, I was comfortable, I knew what I was doing, I knew what the character was about, so I get in there, and there's the costume hanging up on a hanger. I said, yeah, I'll stick that on and go over there, there's a ship, don't save that woman, that was that kind of thing. It was great, one day.
Okay, we'll do Yeti Tom Baker scarf one there. Yeah.
First question is, out of the 3 costumes that you've worn as a Doctor, which is your preference? And also, do you have much to say in any of the costumes? And what was it like working with acting legend Eric Roberts in the TV movie?
Well, you his agent. I should have think his agent was saying. What was the first? Oh yeah, 3 costumes. I'm trying to think of the 3 costumes. Yeah, the first one I had no choice in whatever. Like I was saying to your man before, working on the pilot, it was like, no, wear that, stick that wig on, don't complain, like stand over there. So no, I had no input into that costume. The middle one you're talking about, I'm sure, is that leather thing. That was our own idea. Chiefly, this is about 4 years ago, chiefly because all these pictures that we had, because I hadn't shot The Night of the Doctor then, so the only photographs that we had were these old ones from the 90s. And I was getting a little bit bored with them. And some fella I'm working with in Australia said, well, why don't you get another costume and make your own photos? So we did, that's what we did. So I designed that thing myself. And we had it made down in New Zealand. And the reason that it is what it is, it was a leather thing, because I wanted the leather coat to start with. And it's a pea coat. Pea coat. It's really Scouse, isn't it? Pea coat. Because a pea coat is a sailor's outfit, a 19th century sailor's outfit. And it's because I missed my dad, who was a sailor, like all the men in my family, blah, blah, blah. And I thought the Doctor's a Voyager, and that's how that came about. The costume for Night of the Doctor, like I said, was just hanging on a hanger when I got in there. I really liked it though. I think that's the one I like most, because it looks like he's had a fight in it. It looks like he's actually been in the wars in it. So they feel like clothes. Sometimes the costumes you wear are a bit costumey. Colin Baker used to say, well, why does the Doctor have to wear a costume? Can't he just wear clothes? You know what I mean? Like everybody else. So that's the reason I like that one. Oh, and Eric Roberts. Yeah, he was great to work with. A bit vague, I've got to say. But no less lovable for that.
Okay, go one more question there, and then we'll come over to this because that young guy's had his hand up for quite a long time.
Massage. Change it on, just to give it on. That's it. Someone give him a massage. Where are you? Oh, are you? What, did you drop the mic? No,
I shot the sonic screwdriver.
don't do that. Because you'll never open another door in your life. You know what someone said to me before? And looked at one of the photos on the table and said, is that an e-cigarette that he's got? Hold it close to your mouth. There you go.
I just wanted to ask, I'm sure you've worked with some real characters over the years.
Oh, yes.
Who's the maddest person you ever worked with?
The maddest person?
Me.
You know who it was? Richard Harris. I worked with the late, great Richard Harris. And you know what? I'll tell you some stories about him, but there's kids here. You know what I mean? But suffice it to say, he won the prize like for the maddest person I ever worked with. He was fantastic. Yeah, of all the people I ever worked with. He used to get carried out. Most places we ever went to, shoulder high. Right. Wherever we went, like. We'd walk into places and people would just spontaneously applaud. You know, like whether it was fellas in bars or people in shops, like would just stand and applaud. And anyway, my hero.
All right, young son.
And that story about him, you know, is true. When he was dying, because you know he lived at the Savoy Hotel in London for the last 5 years of his life, and they were carrying him out. Stop me if you heard it, like, but they were carrying him out because you know the paramedics came and got him from his hotel room. And they took him out through the restaurant of the Savoy Hotel on this stretcher, like. And as he's going to the restaurant, he manages to lean up on this gurney that they got him on, and he says to the assembled eaters, he said, "Don't touch the fish." You've got to love him. You've got to love him.
How long do you think?
You got it. Oh, they gave me the mic. Fantastic.
How long do you think Doctor Who will be on for?
I think so long as there's television or seriously or radio or any place to tell the stories. Incidentally, if any of you haven't yet caught up with the radio adventures, the Big Finish audios, honest to God, try it, listen to it. Next time you got a couple of hours or a long car journey, because just a reminder, because Doctor Who's not just on the telly, he's also on the radio. Anyway, so a little advertisement there, but in answer to your question, so long as there's a way of telling the stories, because the thing is, it's infinite now. I think they've proved that. You can go back in time, forward in time, change your mind, like, as much as you want. Remember that time when there could only be 12 doctors or whatever it was going to be? He booted that into the long grass, didn't he? So the thing is, it can go on as much. Maybe you'll be the doctor one day. You know what I mean? We need a nice doctors. We've even had a couple of scousers. So they've scraped them. Right, go on.
Go on then.
What was your favourite?
Your favourite what? Villain. When I was a kid, was the Yeti. Have you ever seen the Yeti? It used to scare the out of me. It just did. Especially the bit where it's like a door used to open on its. Did I dream this? A door used to open on its chest, and its heart used to come out like a ball and just hover there like that. That was it. That was me, like Gumby on the sofa, and I was legging it. I was terrified. But and I thought, well, I'll never be that scared again until the weeping angel. Isn't that a fantastic idea? You know, often the best ideas are the simplest ideas, aren't they? Don't blink. That is the simplest, scariest idea. Because it's like you're a kid again, aren't you?
I love that episode as well when I first got them in.
You know what, when I did one of these panels in a London show, Moffat was there with John Hurt, and the woman who invented it and played it was with us. And we were all completely starstruck, you know, like, because we're all fans as well, like, and we're all like looking at her like that, trying not to blink. Anyway.
A young lady in front and then we'll listen to yourself.
What qualities did you look for in an assistant?
In an assistant.
You're applying for the job.
I always think that the assistant has to be a little bit smarter than him. You know what it's like, anyone has ever read or tried to read, I've got dementia, Cervantes' novel, help me out. What's it called? The what? Don Quixote. Yeah, thanks very much. Don Quixote. Don Quixote, as they say in France. Anyway, but in that, his assistant, Sancho Panza, they like stumbled through all these adventures together and like changed the world. And it's beautiful. Have you ever read it or seen it or try reading it? It's fantastic. It's like a 16th century novel. It's one of the best things ever written. And it's a bit like the Doctor. It's so like the Doctor. And he's like, and Panzer is like, it's like a mixture of all the companions you've ever come across. I swear to God. The companion's got to get him out of a hole now and again. But it's also, I always think, because I used to do like these First World War things, and I talked to a lot of these ex-First World War officers, you know, when they were still alive. And I couldn't talk to them when they were dead, Paul. Right? But they would always go like, they always had these like Batmen, Batman or assistants, and they were often like these working class lads. You know, these officers didn't know anything really. And he said, but they couldn't do without these working class books because that fella was there to say, okay, sir, listen, you're making a bit of a mug of yourself here. If we just do that and like tie this to the end of that, like we'll all live. Like that kind of thing. And it's a little bit like that. It's a mixture of those kind of things. So the help has to be practical. And it's like, anyway, it's like that. It's Sancho Panza. Take that with you.
Alright, so there you go.
Hello.
Oh, that's better, isn't it?
I know. You were talking about the audio dramas, big fan. Sorry, I might have lost it. Is there any stories or companions that you really want to explore in the audio dramas?
The thing is, I seem to be going through them at the rate of knots at the moment. Chiefly because we keep hiring these brilliant people who are like, and suddenly Hollywood discovers somebody like Sheridan Smith and Ruth Bradley, the brilliant Irish one, with Molly. Like the twin, they've got this fantastic. So we're going to lose, I think, to America soon. So we better get as much done as we can with that. Sorry, what was your question? Well,
stories you want to explore with the others, like really want to get into?
Any stories? Well, I'm going to find out on Tuesday because, you know, we go back in to Big Finish on Tuesday to carry on with the Dark Eyes. And sometimes they ask us, you know, are there any... But what they tend to ask us is, next year when we come back, they say, is there any period in history that you want to particularly go back to? That's what they normally ask us, you know. So I might say, all right, yeah, can we go back to like 1926 New York? You know, and I want to grab hold of Scott Fitzgerald, you know, and tell him that it's going to be okay, kind of thing. So I'm waiting for that one. It hasn't happened yet.